and welcome to Tim's Old School Perspectives. Today I'm going to be talking about Trump's 3 paths to victory, but before I do that I'd like to give a big shout out to all my subscribers. As you know, this is a very new channel, but each week we've been picking up a few subscribers, and this is very exciting to me. Gives me a reason to actually continue to create content and to try to do a better job of it. So thank you so much, I really do appreciate it. So let's talk about Trump's 3 paths to victory. The first one I've been talking about for a few days now, and that really is just to win in the Electoral College the old-fashioned way by get the most popular vote and win the electors. This has been problematic because there's been so much fraud and so much cheating going on that you can't really win in a fair fight like this. But it does look like there's a possibility that once they do these recounts and do some recanvassing and throwing out some illegal votes, that it very well could be that President Trump's path through this means is very much alive. So it's not dead by any means. And all he needs to do is come up with electoral votes from any of the 3 states. I talked about the 5 states in the balance yesterday. If you want to check.
Detroit witnesses have alleged under oath that ballots were improperly backdated and counted without matching signatures. One poll watcher alleges that 40,000 late unsealed absentee ballots were counted orally, and all of them went for Democrats. In the state of Nevada, 8 whistleblowers from within the Nevada Election Department say that, according to one affidavit, a poll worker saw people bringing handfuls of ballots to a Biden-Harris campaign van. Those ballots were then filled out at the van, placed in return envelopes. Eventually, Biden's supporters formed a wall to block outsiders from seeing what they were doing. Meanwhile, according to voting records, people who were not even alive still somehow managed to vote on Tuesday. The Republican Party of Nevada says it is aware of hundreds of other potential cases of dead people casting ballots. In Pennsylvania, records show turnout from several people who were born in the 19th century. They apparently rose from their graves to vote. Now, all of that is real. We spent all weekend checking it.
The first path to victory is this, through simply winning those states. And it does look like a good possibility. But the second path to victory is now we have the state legislatures in these states actually stepping in and saying, hey, wait, we see some problems. We want these problems to be addressed. We want there to be full recounts. We want there to be recanvassing of votes. And we want there to be throwing out of illegal ballots without even going to court over it, just doing it the right way. And so court battles in the state legislatures are going to be a big part of the Trump victory. Obviously, just winning straight out in a fight that isn't very fair and hasn't been done in a proper way is just may not be possible. And so through state legislatures and courts, Trump has a second path to victory. But then you might say, what's going to happen when neither one of these ways work? What happens if these votes and these elections in these states is just so corrupted and so screwed up that they can't make heads or tails of what actually went down? A lot of the contaminated ballots have been thrown in with the main population of ballots, and so now it's impossible to segregate them. And the states have a real conundrum. It's very, very hard to certify a vote like this. So what happens if they can't seat electors? What happens if, because they can't seat electors now, nobody can get to 270 electoral votes? Well, in this case, the 12th Amendment comes in. And what the 12th Amendment does is it makes a way to the presidency possible when there's been such a corrupted election like this, where it's really hard to tell exactly who should win. It's very, very hard to tell in Pennsylvania who should win. We don't know what happened with these 632,000 ballots. We don't know what happened with the 2 million ballots with problematic signatures. And this is the bulk of the vote. And so Pennsylvania did such a horrible job in this election, they may not be able to seat electors. It's possible that Michigan may be in that same boat. And I'll show you a little clip on Pennsylvania and Michigan and where they're at.
There are 60 or 70 witnesses. This isn't a fly-by-night case. This is a very strong case, including some pictures and some video. So I think Pennsylvania, there's a good chance it will get overturned. I think there's even a better chance in Michigan, because in Michigan you have the same evidence of hundreds of thousands of votes that were counted without anybody observing them. Actually, in Michigan, it's a crime to do that. And then we have several pictures of ballots being brought in things that look like ash cans, um, little boxes, certainly not in the containers, the wooden containers that are supposed to be double locked that you bring legitimate ballots in. And there we have a turncoat witness, and we have a witness of the Democrat who was so disgusted by what she saw in her party, she explains the whole thing to us.
All right, so Rudy has put that all very eloquently, and we can see that there's so much problems in these two states that may be 36 electoral votes right there. Now, Arizona still is extremely close also. Arizona has been called, although it's within just over 10,000 ballots, separating the two candidates out of 3.3 million. That's a microscopic percentage. Recanvassing, recounting will no doubt be done in Arizona too. And that's a state that's already been turned to Biden, in spite of the fact that it probably never should have been. And so it's the same thing, Arizona, Georgia, and of course in Wisconsin, up in Milwaukee in those middle of the night ballot dumps. And so it looks like that this election could be so contaminated that a lot of electors are not going to be able to be seated. This happens, the 12th Amendment kicks in, and all of a sudden we have a situation now where President Trump will be selected by the House of Representatives. Now I know that causes terror in the hearts of conservatives because we know that the House of Representatives is controlled by Democrats, but not so fast. The way this is going to work is each state gets one vote, and the state House is controlled by Republicans by 31 to 19. And so, if the 12th Amendment is to kick in, and this is decided in the House, which there are a few paths to that happening, then that is the third way, and the third path through which President Trump will become the next and the remaining president. And so, I hope that cleared up some things. There are multiple paths to victory for President Trump now. They're becoming clearer by the day. Even the mainstream media is starting to sweat a little bit. And so get ready for the riots, because it's going to happen. It looks like President Trump has a very, very good chance to prevail. I'm not saying that he absolutely will. He might not. The courts may not have the guts to make it happen, but I can tell you this, now there's been a precedent set in Pennsylvania as a battle has already been won there by President Trump, and there are some ballots already that have been deemed to be illegal, fraudulent, and thrown out. And so for today, that's what I have for you. I hope you guys have a great day, and once again, thank you for all that you do in listening and to following this channel. I really, truly do appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Peace out.